Hi, Joe here at Willie Cottage. Today I'm doing my blending videos, but this one is actually a request. Now and again I do get requests from people either on my Instagram or Facebook, or even just drop down on my YouTube channel, of suggestions for things they'd like me to see me to do. Things like art spinning with beads, just even videos of watching me weaving, which I think it's a bit boring, but then when I'm doing my live chats I can actually sit there and chat away at people while I'm doing it, and if they want to ask questions then that's great, but then at least that's on there on my YouTube channel. So what else? I'd get asked to do videos for fractal spinning, how to prepare a bat to be able to do that. So I recently had an inquiry from one of my customers via my website asking me if I ever done a video where I explain why I've chosen certain colours or fibres to create an art bat, and I'm racking my brain. I'm thinking I'm sure I have, but maybe along the gist of why I've gone for certain colours to create fractal bats and colour blending, and I will get into colour theory as time goes on. At the end of the day, these videos are just to help people that are just starting out, or beginners, or just want to sit and listen to me natter away to myself and to you about what I'm up to and what I'm doing. So yeah, so what I've done is I've picked 3 images, and they're all based around about November, so you've got the autumnal colours going into snow, and now there is a colour theme that runs through all the way through all 3 of them. But this one, the first one, is a tree line. I thought the other day in my live chat that I actually mentioned that it was a farmer's field, because that's what made me think of it first, was the edge of a farmer's field where all the grasses have gone golden and things like that. So on this you've got this really off-white grey colour, and that represents this drizzly mist that's in the top, and then you've got this cream colour that starts to evaporate into the trees, which is what you get when you're out in the drizzle, isn't it? Then you've got these goldy hues, and then these russet reds, and then these darker, really deep, nearly black browns. So that's what's in there. So from that, when I found this image, I was thinking, right, how does that make me feel? I'm thinking, right, I want to be snuggly, I want to be sat in front of the fire with a big cup of coffee. So that made me think then, right, okay, so what do I want in that? I want some type of wool that's going to spin up and knit really warm and soft. But then I want pops of colour in there as well, but I don't want it to be in your face. So I don't want them to bleed too much but into each other to create like one complete hue and tone. I want them to have a slight individuality. So when you're spinning it up, you could easily, the way that I'm going to blend this, and you'll see in a minute, I've already done one bat, I'm going to do the second one so you can see how I've done it, and then put them both together and you'll get the exact the exact look of what the bat was at the end. And I'll be doing that with all 3 of these images, so it's a bit of a 3-part video. So with that I thought, right, so the black, I'm thinking, right, how am I going to get away with that without it being too obtrusive, because black's a really quite an intrusive colour. So I've ended up going with a black bamboo, and I've got South American top here that I've dyed up, and though it's not quite the russet red, but it's not the black, I thought, well, it will help bring out pops of the colour of the russet red, because I don't want to use too much of that, and I don't want to use too much of the gold in there, because I want to capture these deeper shades that are going into the trees, and they're not quite a brown. And if you look at trees do have lots of other colours inside the bark, and you have got these really deep maroony purpley colours in there on certain species of trees, if you look at it with like a different perspective of looking for colours in things. So I've gone with that. I'm using Manx Lohan. So with those 2 I'm going to do Manx Lohan on one side of the drum, and the other side of the drum I'm going to use this purple. So there's your base colours for things to stand off and pop. So on top of, on the Manx Lohan side, I'm going to be adding some white merino glitz to enhance that. Then I've got some leftover, I think that's soybean and merino. And then on top of that I've got some fawn alpaca, and then I will bleed through some of this rusty orange, start going through into the misty section, and then I've got some of the yellow to hide in there as well, and they'll go on top of the purpley side, but they'll bleed through on both sides, so you get hints of that. Then I've got this sand sari silk, black bamboo, I've got some red eerie silk just to give a little bit of highlights, but that is going in the middle and then it will go on the top to finish off my blend. What else have I got in there? Oh, and I've got this gorgeous rusty red in there as well. Okay, and then just to finish it off, this will be in the middle and on the top, but I wanted to capture that thought of a smoggy, drizzly weather hitting and blocking me from seeing all those colours completely. So this will be in the middle and on the top as well. So it is tweedy viscose with slightly, just the tiniest textures and neps in there as well. So that's what I'm going to put on there. So I will do this, and then at the end of this video I will chat about the next one. So I hope you enjoy. Thumbs up down below, and any comments just drop them in the sections underneath this video. So there you go. So the pictures, you'll be able to see the colours more better in the pictures, but you can see where that misty colour is going in, and it's hitting the tops of the trees and then coming round to those rusted reds. Now I feel personally, if I'd have put them without that deep purpley mushroom base, this one here, I was thinking this is those mushrooms that you find in the woods. So I feel personally that without this, those colours wouldn't have much balance. They wouldn't be able to stand out on their own merit. They would blend into each other and then become quite muted. So I always think when you're looking for shades, look for some for 3 of something, and even if you're using it with other colours across the spectrum or just really muted, use 3 maybe 5 of those as well to create this gorgeous colour blended, and it just gives it a bit more oomph, a bit more background, especially if you're felting as well. If you're using my bats for felting, then having your bats so colourfully blended in complementary ways, then it helps you get your basis for doing your wet felted background that you can then layer upon, because all the work's been done for you. I mean, if I was to just take that out now, take that out there and show you it in this light. So, oh, that one's not as good as this one in the sense of stretched out. So you can see where those purple hues are, and then they go into those reds, and then they go into the misty colour. So you can see that already. You could quite easily create an autumnal tree line just with that on its own. Do you see what I'm saying? So yeah, so when I'm blending my colours and my bats, I'm thinking about not just the spinner, I'm thinking about the person that likes to do a little bit of felting on the side as well. Yeah, so it's not just the spinners I'm thinking of. I mean, I like to do a little bit of felting, but I'm no professional. But if somebody was to say to me, right, I need this image, I want to do something similar to this, can you help me create it? I'm like, yeah, no problem, just send me the image and I can sort it out for you. But yeah, so it's soft, it's cozy, it's multi-tonal, it has got a slight gradient. But as I say, if you were to split that in half on the Manx Lowham side and the purple side, which is actually South American top, then you can spin them both off and then apply them against each other, and I think they would look absolutely stunning like that. But yeah, there we go. So that's the first one of 3. And I will just go and sort out the other one, and I'll be back in a bit. Right, so second bat of the day, and you can see this theme come along. So with the other one, we were walking along the pathway and the rain just starts and the drizzle's coming in and the heavy fog, and we're walking towards the tree line because we know there's shelter in there. So these colours have been transferred through into this second bat, which is where we're at now. We're walking through the woods, and you can see that the mist and the fog's hitting in and it's creeping down, and it's become a really low cloud. So I want to create a lovely bat that's full of rich colours and tones, but encapsulating this sort of misty sort of feel in there as well. And the moisture that's going to be sitting on the leaves that are on the ground and the ferns, the bronze from the ferns and on the floor, woodland floor, and then the russets and golds that is in the tree line, and then capture these dark feelings from the tree and the shadowing that's cast onto them. So we've got this really pale grey, and then we've got this very similar seal grey. Then we've got these dark, nearly black tones from the browns. Then we've got that maroony colour again, then the russet and the gold. So the colours are following through, but I've picked 3 pictures that actually encapsulate in a story. Okay, so with this I wanted to create a really snuggly feel, and I'm nearly home, I'm nearly out the rain, but I wanted to get that, capture the moodiness from the base tones in there as well as the crunchy leaves. So with that thought in mind, so from the crunchy leaves, sparkles and neps, okay, so that's where my brain's going with that, and a bit more shine as well from the leaves with the wet moisture and the mist that creates the moisture as well and glistens in the sunlight. So for the center section I'm using this silver bamboo, but then I'm going to top off in sections with this russet red A grade merino mulberry silk. Okay, so with that, then I've got this purple back out again, this lovely mushroom purpley colour, and this is on the South American top again. Then to come more of the colour base for the centre section that I want to create for the mist and drizzle and the fog and the low cloud is there's the soft grey and there's the seal blue, and it's very much like the picture that's in there, and that's on a Corridale. Then I'm using some of this fawn alpaca just to help tie the browns into the misty feeling, and it gives it a little bit of warmth in there with that beige, so it doesn't look so cold and drab. Then I'm going to add in some sari silk, that's the wildflower sari silk, and I want that to help with the texture feeling as well, so you end up with a slightly tweedy, lumpy fibre when you're spinning. Or if you felt and you've got lots of textures in there to pick out and add to your pictures. So there's a bit more yellow, and then I've gone for this rusty coloured merino glitz just to help trap the colours and the tones for the leaves. So I've got like the maroons, I've got the reds here, and I've got the yellows. So those are all the three colours that I need to make me feel with crunchy autumn leaves. And then we've got the browns from the bark and some russet in there. So that's generally it. Oh, and yeah, and the mohair top. Okay, black mohair top, just to give it a bit more moody depth feel. So that's how we're going to do that, and I'm going to get on with that one, and then I'll be back in a bit with the very last blend. So there you go. So you can just make out those bluey hues, and there's the trees on the sides of the picture. So I've already done the other one. I'll just grab that now, put them together. So there we go. So you can see where the tree line starts, and then you've got that misty, where is that picture? That misty feeling in the centre, and then it goes back out into the woodland trees again. So I feel like I've captured the story of that image. And then with the textures in there and the sparkle as well that you would get with the moisture coming down from the low clouds. Or if it's just been raining and that's it lifting now, then the trees are going to be covered in dew, and the leaves are going to be wet underfoot, so you're going to have that shine. So I've got the sheen in there, I've got the textures in there, and I've got the sparkle in there, as well as that lovely woolly cozy feeling. So that's the second one done. Right, so the very last one, we've made it to the centre and we've got to the cottage. But this time is snowing. But this was the closest one I could get to the theme with these russet tones in. So that's the theme carried through. So not only am I telling a story with the 3 bats, I'm actually creating a common theme of colours. And I'm trying to show you that you can use one dye pot for a main colour, and then spread that through different variations to get completely different looks. It's so simple to do. It just takes a little bit of forethought and planning, and there can be a lot of work that goes into doing bats like this when you're inspired by that, but once you get into a routine, it's not too bad. But this is generally how I would say about 45% of my bats are inspired by images like these. So for me, beforehand, like on a Thursday, I will beginning of the week, I will find the images that I want to inspire me for the following week, and then over Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, in my brain subconsciously I'm plotting and thinking about what I need to do, what I need to dye, what the pictures are saying to me when I see them, whether I want lots of shine and drape and things like that. And then Thursday's my dye pot day, sometimes a Friday, depending on what things I need to dye, whether I want textures or neps, or if I want to dye up trilobal and silks and things like that, then that's the next day I've got to do them. Or if I want to do locks that are inspired by the colours as well, and add them to the bats, which I've actually done with a couple of these that downstairs. And then I've got to get it all dried, and then Monday is my blending together day, and it takes me to blend up 3 bats about 2.5 hours, but that is like the hours of planning, the day of dyeing and drying and sorting it out and weighing it all up and pre-soaking it and everything else. So before I've even got these listed on the website, it's probably been about, say, 16 hours work in the thought process leading up to Monday's listings. So there is generally quite a lot of things that go on in the background that you guys have no idea about, but this is how I do it. This is my method. Right, so that's the image that we're going for next, and this one I want to feel a touch of glamour and a warmth again, but I want to represent the sparkling that you'll get in the snow and the frost. So again, that's glitter. I want it to have a warm, luxurious feel in there. So I've actually got some cashmere, some real cashmere. It's quite expensive to get a hold of, so I've got that in there. I'm going to use again the brick red mulberry silk just to highlight those tones in there. I've got some merino glitz, and I've dyed on a Polworth, but then I've actually got a really fine merino. So that is llama and merino and alpaca. This one is a merino with tussar silk in it. So I've dyed that. That's my russet tones. There's my grey tones, because there's 2 types of greys in there, and you can see the cream in there as well. So there's some more llama and merino, then some more of the russet, some dark grey mulberry noil, some black mulberry, some black merino glitz. I've picked out some red just so I can have a different context of red, because I've got the red in the russet tones and I've got red from the mulberry silk, but I want to add a third dimension of the red in there as well. There's the cashmere. Honestly, it's the softest thing. I would love to spin it, but it's such a flighty fibre that I love to spin it when it's been blended up in my bats, because you can actually get a grip of it. But it's absolutely delightful to spin up and use. Then I've got my lotus fibre in there just to give a bit more creamy texture. Let me try and get rid of that light a bit more, and then you can see the actual colour. So it's actually a very soft ivory tone. 18 micron count merino, and I've dyed up some Polworth as well, okay, in a very soft grey. I've got some white glitz, and I'm using silver Angelina, and I'm gonna add in some really soft black and white neps, but I'll make sure they're blended all the way through so they'll be captured in the fibres. So I'm going to get on with that now. Obviously I'm going to video it, and I'll see you on the other side. God, you can genuinely see the glitter in that. So that is the last one done. So I'm just going to join them together as I do. Roll them up. So I was just thinking when I was blending that then, that wool that I said was Polworth in the light grey, it's not. It is a Shetland, and the reason why I picked the Shetland is because there's a lot of, hold a second, my light's a bit glary. There's a lot of really fine lustrous fibres in there, and I wanted when you're spinning it to have something to grip onto, especially with the cashmere and the lotus fibre as well. They're very, very smooth, they've got no crimp on them. So I wanted to make sure that with the merino, which is a fine 18 micron count merino, that you had something there for the fibres to adhere to when you're spinning this up. Plus it gives it a little bit more volume, and if you were spinning it up you would get a bit thicker than a standard single yarn, like really fine spinning. It would end up a little bit thicker than that you could actually spin from. So if you were to do this as a single ply, you want to spin your wool up, then wrap it into a skein or your niddy noddy, and then tie it up, stick it in a bowl of really cold water, leave it in there for about 10 minutes, and have your sink all ready with some hot, hand hot water, and add that straight in from the cold into the hot, and it'll create a felted friction, which means that your single yarn will have some strength in it and it won't snap easily. I've currently got a jumper downstairs I'm trying to pull apart, and it's a single ply that I've done in that same technique, and it won't come apart. I can't snap the actual yarn is so tough and felted in a good way that it won't actually, I can't snag it to undo stitches and things like that. So it's driving me potty at the moment trying to undo it. Plus it's a hairy wool as well, so it really is sticking together. But yeah, so that is that one. Now I've done, as you've seen, I did it in a gradient way on the bases. So you've got the 18 count micron merino undyed, then you've got the Shetland very pale grey in the middle, and then the outside you've got the llama and merino silk blend on the outside. So there is a lot of luxury fibres in there that will help to bring a really nice drape. Then I've layered on top with the russet reds and then hints of black, dashes of black, not lots. Then you've got the ivory colour from the cashmere and from the lotus fibres, and then you've got lots and lots of sparkle, and there are neps in there. But these ones, the way that they're sitting in there, they should actually stick and they shouldn't pop out too much. I will have to sweep my floor because it's covered in popping blinking neps. So there we have it. So we have the coming home, we have the woodland walk, and then we have autumn in the mist. So you can see that the colours are in there. The woodland, the cottage one really does look completely different, but you've seen that I've tried to carry the russet tones all the way through on all those bats, so it is in there. It's just different parts of the season, isn't it? So you've got literally your November, you've got your October, and you've got your Christmas. So storytelling bats. So I hope you enjoyed that and you learnt a little, or you got to understand how my working process is started, and it takes me about a week to come up with ideas and actually get it done, decide what fibres I want to use, have a look through my stash. Sometimes even in the last minute on a Monday morning when I've already got all the wools ready, I'm like, right, I don't want to use that one, I'm going to go and root for this one because I want something just to give that little bit of extra oomph in there, or just to calm down the tones or something. So that's why you should never throw away any of your wools, even your, as I say, your accidental dyeing. If you just bear with me a second and I will turn you around so you can see my pegboard. So there, you've got my pegboard up there. There's actually another 2 bin bags full of wools that I haven't put up since I moved upstairs. So this is just a homemade pegboard. And this is where all my accidental dyes rovings go, where I'm like, oh no. Where I'm like, oh no, I've not quite done what I wanted. Sometimes even felted wool, if you're lucky you've got a drum carder. Sometimes some wools that are slightly felted Once you've run them through, open them up and have a bit of a fight with them, and once you've run them through the drum carder, they soften right back up again, and you should be, without running through twice, or even blend them with a softer fibre like a merino glitz or a merino silk blend, just to help break up those fibres, and then blend it through 2, maybe 3 times, and that'll be no problem at all. You can definitely get on with that and use that again. So never throw any wools away, you never know when you can actually use them. So as I say, I hope you enjoyed that. That's my video for this week. I'm not too sure what I'm doing next week, but any questions or queries or suggestions you want me to do for next week's YouTube video, just give me a shout. Currently, for some reason, I'm unable to upload my live chats onto my YouTube from Instagram. I'm not sure whether it's from the recent iPhone update that's stopping me from being able to do it, but I'm not being given the option when I'm saving it to go to IG. It's IG TV. It's not showing me save to phone. So I'm not quite sure what's going on with that, but I am leaving the links to watch them on my Facebook page, or you can just go and root through my bio and you'll find last week's chats on there. It is a little bit frustrating, but it's not much I can do about it. I just can't save any live videos at the moment. I may start coming onto YouTube and doing my live videos on there instead. We'll see. So yep, that's it for now. Have a lovely week. Hopefully you don't get too wet and soggy through the week. The cold winter winds are definitely on the way in. And I'm off to go and relax and get some knitting done. Take care of yourselves. Oh, hit that thumbs up below. And hit the bell button for subscribing, and you'll know when I've uploaded new videos. Take care of yourself. Bye.